I feel like I'm already in a vulnerable state. So
I think it's a perfect time.
yeah,
That's kind of why I wanted to get you to almost be surprised by it.
yeah, I was not ready for this, not expecting this. I just came to help out, and then you said hop on. I was like, oh, I don't know about that one.
Well, let's jump right into it. What is your name and what do you do?
My name is Cruz, and I am a registered nurse.
What do you do as a nurse specifically?
So for like me right now, I work in a facility that was like a rehabilitation, so like acute care, post-acute care. So like they're not dying, but they can't go home, so they still need like rehabilitation, antibiotics, IV therapy, any kind of like wound care, stuff like that.
So I know a little bit about your past. Uh, so I want you to be able to share with kind of the audience, go as deep or as little as you like, but just give a kind of a brief little backstory of your upbringing and kind of how it has gotten you to where you are right now.
I definitely like resolve everything around like where I'm at today because of my upbringing. It definitely made me a fighter. It made me like not want to ever give up. So my parents weren't the best of parents growing up. My mom gave me away when she was, I went to foster care with my twin sister. And in foster care, well, my mom was already doing bad things. Like she was in part of drug deals, drug houses. Like growing up, we were homeless. So like I'd go around and we stayed in like random people's houses, stuff like that. And then when I got put in foster care, my foster family was there, but it wasn't like I was like an added addition like to the house. Like nobody really like they cared about us, but not in a way like it was like a family. It was almost like we were just like the dogs chained outside almost. And I don't mean that like in a bad way. Like they did like put a roof over our head, they fed us and stuff like that. But there were so many other things that like happened behind the scenes that tormented me and my sister like growing up and trying to like understand it was we weren't anything to begin with, so we don't have any say to like say, hey, this is going on, like, hey, this is wrong. Like there's so many things that happened while we were inside there that we don't even open up about today just because we're just so afraid because we weren't supposed to be given anything. Like from where we started to where we are now, even now we still don't we feel like we don't deserve anything that we were ever given, so that we're not it's not our place to say yes, that was wrong. Yes, that was right because we were kids and we didn't know like fully what was happening the whole entire time. Um, but at the end of the day, what drove me to like, so like back forward, my real dad signed my sister's birth certificate, but he didn't sign mine. And for a long time that sat with me because we were twins. Like, how are you going to sign somebody else's birth certificate and not sign one? And to me, that was just like, I wasn't even like born yet and I was already abandoned. Like he was so willing just to give me up right off the rip and I didn't even get a chance. So like that's something I struggle with is like being abandoned. Like the people who brought me into this world just were so willingly just to give me up. And that made me understand was like, I don't want to give up on anybody. Like I don't want to give up on my friends. I don't want to give up on anybody who ever looks to me and needs help. Like and I feel like that's why I became a nurse was because like people are at their lowest of lows in the hospital. Like even now, like you're having your issues going on. And you're like, dang, like this sucks. Like it's so much. And it's just like they're at their bottom, but I can be their light for them while they're at the bottom kind of thing. And I feel like it shaped, like my childhood shaped me into being able to be there for anybody and everybody that I can be for. Like people always talk about is like you can only fill as many cups as you can before your cup gets empty. And I've definitely reached that point where like my cup gets empty, but it's only a little bit of time before I'm like, no, my cup's refilled again. I can refill all these cups again because I know what it feels like to be alone, and wouldn't wish that on anybody.
What would you say? I would say that you're probably the most authentic person that I know. And I honestly think it's because of your upbringing, of that sense of being abandoned, being on your own, having to learn it who you are by yourself. So I want to know what your power, how you feel the power is of being able to be so authentic and so authentically you, because it's a magnet. Like, you've magnetized so many people around you because of truly being yourself, and part of my friends not giving a fuck of what other people think. But it's one of those things, like, I've seen how close you become with people around because of that aspect. So share just a little bit of what that power is like, and kind of the tools that maybe you were able to learn along the way of finding who you are.
Um, it was a really hard process. I'm not gonna lie. Like for me growing up, because I was so afraid of being abandoned, I was what they called a chameleon. So no matter what friend group I was in, I could be a part of that friend group because I changed who I was. And growing up, that was good because I made sure like I always had friends, I was always around people, I was always doing something, I kept myself preoccupied. But as I got older and as I started to get like friends started to leave and like other relationships started to end, it just made me more like coherent of that's not really a person. That's just adapting to who I'm around so that because of my sense of abandonment. And as I got older and friends started pointing it out, like Drew and Micah, because we've been friends for a long time, they were like, hey, like you call us your best friends, but you keep us at an arm's distance away. And that's truly when I started to like realize and like look at my relationships and be like, that's not who I am though. That's not who I want to be. I want to be someone like if you need the shirt off my back, I'm gonna give it to you. Or if you need me to pick you up at 2 a.m., like that's who I am. But that's not how they felt. And for me, that was such a hard thing to process because like that's what I want. That's who I wanted to be so desperately was to be there for everybody. But I was so afraid of them leaving me that I never got them the chance to get close to me. So I feel like for my authenticity, it just became where I knew who I wanted to be and I didn't deserve anything in this world from where I started. And praise God that I got to be where I'm at today. But because I didn't have anything, I feel like that's my biggest power is because like I don't take anything for granted. Relationships, like the fact that can drive a car, the fact that I can live in a house, like I'd never had any of those things growing up. So for me, I feel like that's my power of how I became authentic is because I none of this is supposed to be for me. None of this is supposed to be for my desire or my employment. This is for other people. I'm doing all this and I'm being who I am for the people around me so they can look and be like, hey, he came from nothing and now he's trying to do something. He's trying to help everybody around him. And I feel like that's the kind of what people forget is like, yes, you live your life and you should live your life how you should, but there's so many people that are around you that are looking to you that you don't even realize. Little kids that see you in a supermarket, your friends around you, your parents who are having problems. There's my parents who I don't have. There's so many things that are revolving around that they look to you and they're just like, you don't even notice. You're so caught up in living your best life that you don't even realize all these people that are looking to you for help. And because you're not being a light for them, you're just like not turning them away. Like you're not doing it like purposefully, but you're like, you could help so many more people if you just acknowledge that you're there to help other people. It's like, yes, you can live your life and like do everything with your life, but for me personally, I wasn't guaranteed any of this and I don't deserve any of this. So therefore, I'm going to try to help as many people as I can because there's people out there that deserve to live this life that have done so much better and greater things than me. And I feel like for my power is to be able to help them do that thing.
I think it's I think it's hard, and I'm going to challenge you because I think you're the most deserving person to live this life because of what you've gone through. I mean, if we go into biblical, Jesus was treated the worst out of everybody. And he was literally a carpenter. Nobody gave a shit about him until he started preaching everything that he was doing and saying that he was an extension of God and that he was God in human form. And then people were getting pissed at him. And then when he was crucified, everybody forgot about him in 3 days.
Yeah.
So he was somebody that, in the eyes of everybody else, didn't deserve anything. And he was like, okay, I'm going to allow this to serve everybody else around. And then when he rose from the dead and went to heaven and was witnessed by the 500 people who saw him arise, that was when that power was like, he deserved that. in such a powerful way. He deserved to go through his life in that exact timeline so that he could show it to everybody else. So in a similar sense, you've been able to have your life and learned the such hard aspects to it at such a young age too, in order to really see, like, in a serving aspect, that you can serve so many other people. And I think that's such a powerful thing in terms of you being a nurse too, is like you're daily saving lives. And so just at your work, you're saving lives. And then you're able to encapsulate that into friendships where it's kind of like that two part of being the server and being authentically yourself, where it's like that balance, like you've found the balance in that aspect of serving everybody else because you didn't have it and you recognize that, but also being your authentic self where like you can literally be whoever you want to be
Yeah.
and like don't give a fuck what people think and assume of you.
Yeah.
And I think it's so powerful, and like I've gravitated towards you so much since I've moved here because of those aspects. There's some times where we get annoyed with each other because it's just like shit talking back and forth, but it's like the most gravitizing people are the ones that are most authentic, and the most influential people are the ones who have gone through the most shit. And so I'm never going to listen to somebody who hasn't gone through anything. The same way as like I want to listen to myself if I haven't had to deal with the stuff that I've had to deal with. Same thing with you. And so using that as the influence to uplift, inspire, motivate, build the community around you that you've had, and being authentically you is like, you deserve to go through all of those things in your life in such a positive direction. Was it horrible? Yes. Was it traumatizing? Yes. But it's brought you to who you are today so that you're serving everyone else around you. And, it's hard. When I was going through my really bad time in life of severe depression and suicidal thoughts, I come from a background that's completely opposite to you. I was pretty much given everything for me. I was in a great household with parents and a really cool brother. We were able to go on trips all the time. And I played every sport that you can imagine and traveled for sports, did all of that. And I was still broken at one point. And it's those things of none of it really matters.
Mm-mm.
So, and it's one of those pieces of like the timelines are always different, but we get to a position that's similar in some directions. And it all just comes back to like living, being that 1 in 400 trillion. And you never know what is going to be handed to you, but you're given what's handed to you and you just run with it.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I've always lived by. Is I know people talk about is like, yeah, I went through hard things, I went through traumatic things, like growing up homeless, being sexually abused, like all these things like that have come up. But what I went through is no harder than what you went through, or what Drew went through, or what Micah went through, or what anybody around us has gone through. Whatever you went through that's the hardest thing you've ever had to go through. So it's the same feelings. It's the same subconscious telling you that you're not good enough. It's the same everything that you feel neurologically, chemically, your brain processes it. It's all the same. Just because it was hard for me and it was hard for you and it was hard for you doesn't mean it's any less hard for anybody else. Everybody goes through their hard things that cause them to grow and change and become who they're going to become. But I wholeheartedly believe that what I went through is no harder what anybody else had to go through. It's just what I needed to become who I wanted to become and who I needed to become.
Yeah. And this is one of those hills that I'll die on, is how much it frustrates me when I'm listening to a conversation going on next to me and someone's talking about how hard their life is in that current moment. And then somebody else is like, yeah, well, I went through this, and completely negates what's going on. I literally heard one this weekend where a guy was talking about he has Osgood-Schlatter's in his knee and can't even do a Stairmaster for prep, has to completely change it. And he was telling me that his mom was like, yeah, but I tore my hamstring. And it's like, what does that matter?
Yeah.
It just comes down to like, in the uplifting, inspiring, and motivation side of things, is understanding that we all come from different backgrounds and we experience things so differently. So the empathetic side of things is truly like being able to listen to somebody and try to understand what they're going through and not try to equate it to something else.
Yeah, not
Everything is lived so differently. And so being able to listen to somebody and take what their experiences are, so you can either learn from them specifically or be able to guide them in a way of maybe from your experiences personally, but trying to do it in a lens that's specific to them.
yeah, that goes like with that phrase I heard a while ago is like people so often today like listen to respond instead of listen to learn. And that's what I feel like is such a big part of like society. They're taking all this information so they can spit something right back out at you, as opposed to taking in the information that you're telling them and be like, okay, like I'm learning about you. I'm learning things like to you. Like sometimes you don't need to respond. Sometimes you don't need to tell them things. It's just they're opening up and telling you all these things. So it's not learning. It's not listening to respond to them. It's just listening to learn about them.
I want to kind of segue. We've gone through this whole dynamic of talking about authenticity and being yourself, and also in a way that serves everybody else. But I want to take it back to your relationship with your sister and having both of you in that same abandonment style of growing up, but being able to almost rely on somebody. How did that feel for you? What was the dynamic like?
Um, it was definitely hard at first, but as we grew older, we definitely grew a lot closer. Um, and it was hard when I first left for college and she was still at home. Um, but then as I got older, we kind of like we texted a lot more, we called a lot more, we kind of grew. And for me, my sister will be my everybody. Like nobody in my life will ever come close to how much I love my sister and how high I hold her in regards to anything. Um, but even then, it's just hard to see that how it impacted her so much differently than it impacted me. Because I mean, getting a phone call at 2 in the morning saying my sister's in the hospital because she tried to commit suicide was such a like an eye-opening moment for me. Is just because I know that I'm strong, I can do this, and I have all these things, but how can I prove to myself that she's strong? And I can't. Like the only thing I can do there is be there for her and always show her that no matter what was happened to us, no matter what we're going through, we have to be strong for each other. And I feel like that was like something that really like changed her mindset and really helped her dynamic of she's not living for herself, we're living for each other. And I feel like it's a bond that nobody will ever be able to break. No matter what happens between us, no matter who comes between us, no matter anything like that, that's a bond that nobody will ever be able to touch. And I hold that so wholeheartedly because growing up, we didn't really have that. Like we were brother and sister and like we were twins and all this stuff like that, but we didn't really like communicate. And as we've gotten older and as like we've matured and as I've seen it, like how it impacted her mentally as opposed to like how it impacted me mentally, we were in the same scenario, but it impacted us two different ways. And for me, it was, no, I'm not going to let anything beat me down. I can't give up. I can't give up. I can't give up. And she is like that. But then she hit a point where she had to give up. And for me, that was such a devastating moment. It was like, I don't ever want her to give up. So I need to keep being the person who I want to be so that she can see that if he never gives up, I can never give up. And that's our bond. Nobody will ever be able to touch that bond between us.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things of like shared trauma, but also the one person that you've been with your entire life.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's sticking with that person. There's times where family isn't built by blood. It's built by your description of family. But in your case, I would say like your blood, that's like the most important person to you.
Yeah. Well, and I definitely feel like even with like, I consider like that's my family, but Drew, Micah, you, like everybody that's like grown around me and helped me like become the person I am today, that's who I consider my family. Like the people that are never trying to tear me down, the people who are always like, even if I push them away, they're like, hey, like, you still doing okay? Like I could push them. I pushed Drew and Micah so far away, but they'd still call me on a random day and be like, hey, we're checking in. Like, where you been at? Like, it's been 6 months. We haven't heard from you. And it's just like, to me, it was like, why do you care? Like, why do you guys care? And they proved to me why they cared because they care about me as a person. And that's truly when I was like, no, that's my family right there. Like, no matter how much I push them away, no matter how much I try to like divulge from them, they're like, no, like we care about you. And like that was such a hard concept because again, it revolves back to my abandonment. Why would anybody care about me? My own parents that brought me into the world didn't care about me. So why would anybody in this world care about me? And they solidified that. And like, that's why I consider them my family. Like you said, my family is like blood, but it's also the people who you choose to be family because family isn't always blood.
Yeah. It goes back to the alignment piece too, is I come from a huge family. I go to family reunions and I don't know half the people that are there. So it's like understanding kind of both aspects of I choose the blood people that I'm around because they're the ones that will always be the ride or dies. But it's also of there's so many times where it's a flip of being in such a big family. I feel like I'm kind of like invisible.
Yeah.
And so picking the people out that see me for who I am and seeing the right version, I guess, or seeing what I'm trying to attain and like being able to be so supportive of those things, those are the ones I want to be around. So it's
Or those family members helping you grow. Like they could still be your family, but they have no intention of helping you grow or wanting the best for you or anything like that. Are they still your family? Like, do you consider them to still be your family?
yeah, it goes into the concept of like when you're making really hard decisions of your life, typically the closest people to you are the ones that are going to be the most protective in a way. So telling you you probably shouldn't do that, and it's from a perspective or protective aspect, but it's the thing of like when you're able to choose the family around you and choose that true like inner circle, it's finding the people who support you and want the best for you, but it's in a way that's going to make you grow even more.
Yeah.
It's not in a way that's going to keep you in this safe little bubble. And so it took a long time, at least for me, to get into that point of finding that big fish and or that the right people in that big pond per se, and getting into a place of, okay, these are the people that not only want the best for me in terms of like my safety in a sense, but also want to see me grow so much.
Yeah.
It goes into the aspect of like, again, living such a short amount of time on earth is like we want the most out of everybody. So if I'm going to sit in this position where I'm just safe the whole time, then am I really doing a service to my family and everybody else, even though they're telling me to be in this safe spot?
Yeah.
Or should I go out of the comfort zone and really push myself and push the limits of what I can attain to be a better version of myself for my family?
Challenge them.
Yeah, exactly. And so it is one of those things where like we come from such different backgrounds, but you get onto like very similar paths in a sense. And so I've loved the direction that our paths have crossed and
I'm
being
grateful
able to
for it.
share so many, like we truly have two completely different dynamics and
Yeah.
we come at this point in the same direction. And so it's just a testament of like your past never defines who you are. It's the action steps beyond.
It's what you do with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to finish this whole thing off, we know what you've done. We know your whole life story, but who are you? Who is Cruz?
Cruz for me is I am a person who will always try to be a light to the people who have or hold on to so much darkness in their life. Cruz is a lighthouse. I'm going to stand strong. I'm going to stand there and I'm going to be a light to everybody that's in the storm, everybody that is going through hard times, everybody that just needs a little bit of light to shine on their light. Like that's who Cruz is. Cruz is going to be standing there no matter what happens to him, no matter what he goes through, no matter who tries to push him over, no matter who tries to blow through him. I'm going to stand there and keep shining my light so people can find their way because that's God put me on this planet to help people. And I will continue to the day I die, always help people because I didn't deserve any of this. None of us, we get to wake up every day. And I feel like sometimes people take that for granted. We get to wake up every day. So why not be the light for other people? Because like I said, you never know who's watching you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for jumping on this without having any idea that you were going to be jumping in on this.
They said Drew's down. I was like, that's a wrap. Let's pack it up. And they're like, hop on the chair. And I was like, I don't know about that one.
No, I really appreciate it. I appreciate the vulnerability. I know it's something that's scary. Like, this is going to be pushed out to the social medias. And so in the world where so many of us just want to kind of hide in these things, like you sharing your life story and what you've gone through and where you are now, like you had said, that other people are going to be watching that you have no idea. There's people that are going to be watching, and they might be in the exact same shoes as you or in the exact same shoes as me. And it's in a position of getting them to understand, like, no, shit gets better.
Yeah.
Like,
it does get way better.
It gets so much
It gets so much better.
And so, like, trusting the process, understanding that, like, your past doesn't define you. It shapes who you are to be a better version of you, but who you are is who you want to be at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose to be the better version of yourself, or you can choose to be a worse version of yourself. I guess before signing off on this, book that I'm reading is Man's Search for Meaning. And in that book, Victor is a prisoner at a concentration camp. And when they get freed, all of the Jews that were in the concentration camp, they start looting, they start stealing from people in the city, they start beating people up and causing all of these crimes. And he was like, well, why are you guys doing this? Like, he's telling his buddies that he's been in the prison for months and years on end. Why are you guys doing this? Well, this bad stuff has been done to me, so why don't I do it to them? Why shouldn't I just reciprocate it back? But it's one of those things of, that's just a negative way to look at it, is like, these things have been done to me so that I never have to have somebody else feel this way.
Yep.
And so putting that aspect, you're the perfect testament for that, of your life and where you brought up. Again, like you would try to say, and I'm going to completely negate it, is that you don't deserve any of this, but you did deserve all of this, because you're the perfect person to be that uplifting, inspiring, motivating, serving person for your community in the way that's most authentic to you. So I know I appreciate it. Everybody else around you appreciates it. I appreciate you being on the podcast.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Episode, we'll call it 2.5. It's my first one, just me, and it's real shit, but I love it. And
well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So sick. Now we're done.
That's a wrap.
What if I told you it was boat nectar?
Would you believe it's boat nectar?